Hello. Apologies for the noise. Stage right. Ewan is getting ready to go to work. Welcome to episode 115. I'm recording. I don't know how the light is today. I am trying something new. You can probably see it reflected in my glasses. It's not a ring light. It's just like a lamp pointed at the wall to try and reflect some light back, because the day has got away from me. It's now about 3 o'clock. Well, it's coming up to 3 because Ewan's getting ready for work and he starts at 3. And it's actually starting to get dark, but I didn't want to put the top light on. I thought I would try this, and it seems okay from what I can see. I have tried a ring light in the past, but I don't like the fact that it reflects on my glasses, so I thought this might be better. Not sure it is. Anyway, this is actually going to be a short one today. I keep saying it will be, and then I talk at you for an hour, but this will be a short one. I have not got very much to show you at all, and I need my lunch. I've not had my lunch yet, but I knew if I didn't do this now, I wouldn't come back and do it after my lunch because it would be too dark. So I'm cracking on. Right. If he didn't have earbuds in, he wouldn't make so much noise. My shawlography, my Christmas. Seriously? Noisy devil. My Christmas shawlography is not finished. I have got this much left of the border to do. I have done this much. It just keeps going, like when magicians pull those scarves out their sleeves. That's what this border is like. However, I'm very, very pleased with the shawl. I can show you what it's going to look like if I hold it up like this. I just need to finish this last little section. Probably about a quarter, just over a quarter. Between a quarter and a third, let's say, left to do. I've reached the point where, as you can see, there aren't very many rows in each stripe, and I've reached the point where I'm just like, oh, I've got to change colour again. So I've had a little break from it. I've done some every day, but I've knit on other things in between. One of the other things I've knit on is my Christmas hat, which is held at the moment in this. Dave made me this. It's like a cross between a yarn holder and a project bag, and it's very, very useful. I'm not going to go through all the yarns in my shawl. It's Shawlography by Stephen West. The pattern will be linked below. I have spoken about it twice before, and I will probably be speaking about it again next week when it's finished. So I'm not going to bore you with it today. Plus I'm being quick because I need my lunch. Right, this is my hat. My little Christmas hat. Christmas hat. I think when you saw it, it was about there. So I've done a fair bit. The pattern I'm using is the Sockhead Slouch by, I want to say Kelly McClure, but again, it'll be linked down below, and I think it's a free pattern still. I'm knitting it in King Cole Footsie in the watermelon colour. Now that spoils the fact that it's a Christmas hat, I know, and it's coming out very orange because of the weird light at the moment. Let me see if I... That's more red, I think, but it's also far too dark. So yeah, I'm on to the body of the hat. For inches of ribbing, I was ready for some plain stocking stitch. So I've been swapping between the two and also doing a few rows on the Musselburgh that I'm knitting for my brother for Christmas, which I haven't brought up to show you today because really there's only so many times you can look at a hat that's still under construction, and you have seen it a couple of times before. So hopefully that will also be finished next week and I can show you that and tell you about the yarn, etc. At the moment this is going to be very, very short because I'm in rush mode and I see it's only been 5 minutes and I've shown you 2 of the 3 projects that I've got to show you already. I've cast on something new. I know I shouldn't have done, but there is a reason. Well, there's 2 reasons. One of them is better than the other. You may remember last week I told you that the week before I had a sort out and a tidy of my craft room, and in doing so I put all the yarn where it needs to go. It's all gathered together and everywhere it should be. And I realised that I have a lot of yarn, mainly because I started dyeing my own and I love them all, and so I keep one of everything. So I kind of realised that I need to use some yarn before I buy any more yarn. And I thought, never mind New Year's resolutions, I should start that now. I don't need any more patterns. I don't need any more yarn. And I actually sat and I went through patterns. Do you remember my not very short list? Well, that's become like the Encyclopedia Britannica. So I went through it and I sorted out patterns that I want to knit into a folder. They're all patterns that I have yarn for. So supposedly, apart from my Advent projects, those should be the only things that get cast on, and not until next year, not until after I've cleared some whips, which is part of my rationale for joining with Belinda from Belinda's Baubles on the topping off mal. The details for that will be below as well. So the first 3 months of next year, really all I should be doing is finishing stuff that's cast on, that's sitting around in project bags. And I was talking, this is kind of very tangenty, talking with some friends this morning, and I was saying one of them is like going through all her whips and frog or finish and what have you. And I said, I've just realised that if I empty all my project bags, whether that's by frogging or finishing, I'm probably going to need to buy more needle storage because there's a lot. Anyway, so that was the promise I made myself. No more yarn, no more cast-ons apart from the Advents until I've cleared at least some of the whips that I've got already. And then I had a bit of an accident. Well, I had 2 accidents. First of all, I accidentally went onto eBay where I found that I had accidentally left some Serdar jewel spun in my basket, and then I accidentally bought it. That was accident number 1. And it arrived. And accident number 2 was I fell over yesterday. Now, this happens every now and again. Usually, as I'm going up the steps into the utility room, I catch my toe because my brain doesn't know where my leg is, and I fall flat on my face in the utility room. But just for a bit of variety, I fell over in the living room yesterday. And so last night I was feeling pretty sorry for myself. My knees were very, very painful. They're still quite sore today. And so that's a little treat for myself because I had sorely knees. I cast on the jewel spun that had arrived. So I've cast on another blanket, which means that at the moment I currently have 6 blankets under construction, and a 7th in a box up there because I was crocheting it and I was chain plying DK and my wrist just wouldn't have it, so I've just put it away. So technically there are 7, but only 6 active. If you could call having been left in a project bag for most of the year untouched active. So this is Sirdar 10723, and basically, sorry about the reflection, it's like a feather and fan pattern over and over. Poppy wants to go out. Poppy's going to have to wait. The door at the bottom of the stairs is closed and she can't get out. So she's going to have to wait a minute. So I need to hurry up even more now. So I cast this on, partly because I was feeling sorry for myself and partly because the shawl that I have upstairs for my early morning, late night knitting is almost finished. So I wanted to replace it with this. So that's my rationale for casting it on. I've done 1 pattern repeat so far. So it's not really much for you to see. That's much more pink than it looks there. And this is Sunstone Amber, I think it's called. So it's the dual spun Aran. And the colourway is, yeah, 855 Sunstone Amber. And it's not quite the colour that I was expecting. The picture on eBay, it looked a lot more pink and apricot. It's a bit darker than that, but I don't mind because they're still colours that I like. So, yeah, that was my cast on. And really, that's all I've knit on since I saw you last week. Mostly my shawlography with a little bit of hat knitting thrown in every now and again for some variety. And then last night I cast on the blanket. So that's pretty much all I had to show you knitting wise, but I do have a couple of acquisitions that I wanted to show you. First of all, I'm in full-on Christmas mode at the moment, and Caroline at Arya has started making beaded stitch markers and putting them in a Ko-fi shop. I showed you some before. These are my Christmas ones. Now, I like the little hat, but Santa's butt, I mean, come on. How perfect is that? That is the most perfect stitch marker ever invented. So I'm a member on Caroline's Ko-fi shop. So we got early access to these, but these will be on general sale from Friday. If beaded stitch markers are your thing, it is worth doing a membership though, because you get a bit of a discount as well as a like you can get them earlier than everyone else. So they're ready for my Christmas projects. And then before those, actually, Denise from Dear Designs, and I have put these on Instagram so you might have seen them already, has done some Christmas stitch markers and a yarn holder. And I got into colouring them in. And I asked Denise and she said acrylic pens were the way to go. So I bought some acrylic pens and I have done Merry Christmas. Little Christmas tree. Obviously when these came it was just the cut wood. Or the, not scorched, what's the word I'm looking for? Laser cut. You know what I mean, because you can still see it. Little holly. This is all a set. Christmas wreath. I had a bit of an accident with this because it's quite small. I went over the lines So I coloured in the background white to cover up my mistake. And because it's essentially acrylic paint, it covered up where I'd gone over with the red. This one is probably my least favourite because I didn't do very well with that one. So those were the markers I bought. And I'll be honest, mostly I bought them because I could see the potential of colouring them in, which has become my obsession. I coloured in all my Halloweeny, pumpkiny, scully ones. And then there's this. Look at this. And this is one of the yarn holders that comes with the, like the post, I suppose you'd call it. And I always do it this way round, because then your yarn sits on it, but you can still see the picture. And I've already got two like wrist strap things. So I had to have a Christmas one of those. So again, Dear Designs, Denise has a Ko-fi shop. She also has an Etsy shop. If you can buy from Ko-fi, it's a little bit cheaper. The prices are a bit more in her Etsy shop because of the Etsy fees. So that's just a little tip for you. I'm not sponsored by either of these ladies. I'd like to point out I paid my own money for all this stuff, but I like it so much I feel I should share. Right, I think that is everything. It is a very short one this week. I'm really sorry. I haven't done anything other than that bit of knitting, and I haven't really got any stories to tell you. No, nothing exciting to tell you. So that being the case, I better go away and get some lunch and let Poppy out because she's going to start howling shortly. So maybe it's a good thing that this is so short, because everybody's doing November vlogs, and so yeah, you can fit me in. You don't have to put an hour aside this week. Also, please let me apologise for, I know this isn't the most flattering look on me. I have a lot of forehead, but if I can just get past these next 2 or 3 weeks without giving in and cutting my fringe, I'll have grown it out and I'll be sorted. At the moment it sits on my glasses like this and it flicks up, which, trust me, is not very attractive either. And this is further than I've got for 4 years. I keep getting, it sort of gets down so it's poking me in the eye, and then I lose my patience and cut it. It happened last year, and if you've been with me since earlier than this time last year, you may remember that it ended up about that short, because I cut it and then I picked up what I thought were the thinning scissors and sort of went into my fringe and went chunk, and they weren't the thinning scissors. I'd picked up the scissors again, and so I just went chunk and cut a big chunk out of the middle of my fringe. And there was no saving it. The only thing to do was to cut the rest of it to match. So I go back and, honestly, go back and look at last December. I've got this little fringe like this that I tried to kid myself made me look like Audrey Hepburn, but it didn't really. It made me look like Jim Carrey from Dumb and Dumber. And, well, one of my children made sure to tell me so. Not until after it had grown out, of course, but I was told not to cut it like that again because it wasn't very attractive. So I'm trying really hard not to. But at the moment, I cannot stand to have it on my face. I don't know why. It's just a sensory thing. It cannot be on my face at the moment, and I will cut it. If I don't pin it out my face, I will cut it. So just need to hang on 2 or 3 more weeks. By Christmas, we'll be past the danger period. And then I'll probably decide that having a long fringe isn't flattering and I'll cut it anyway. But at the moment, it's got so my fringe starts right back here. It's way too thick and heavy. So if I can at least... This is nothing to do with knitting. You don't need to know any of this. But if I can just get it longer, and then if I do cut it, cut less weight into it, it will be better. There. Fringe rant is finished. I'm going to go and have some lunch and leave you all in peace. So I'm kind of sorry it's a short episode this week, but you're probably not, because clearly I'm lacking food. So I'm going to go and do that, and I will see you next week. Hopefully, fingers crossed, with a nice finished and blocked Christmas shawl all ready for the end of that week, which will be December. The crowd goes wild. It's probably time for me to do my not everybody has to enjoy Christmas, and that's okay. But I'll save that for another day. You've had enough fringe rant without me going into that. I'll see you later. Bye.